Hello, hello. Welcome back. So, this is week 2 of how to learn and work on a song. Today, we are covering some traditional folk songs from the UK, starting with Greensleeves. You might be familiar with this melody. It's so the lyrics that we're going to be using are the Greensleeves lyrics, but you might be more familiar with What Child Is This? What child is this who lay to rest? The Christmas Carol. But this one, it's Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. I have sheet music for you, and I will put that here in the chat. If you are here live, let me know if all is well. And if you can hear me, if you can hear the piano. And we're going to jump right in. I'll remind you of the steps we're going to follow. But here is the sheet music for you. And if you follow this link, it will take you to a website, and you can download the sheet music if you like. You don't have to. You'll be able to see the lyrics and see the sheet music without downloading. And it's free, of course, so you don't need to purchase anything to download. But you do have 3 different key options. So you have the key of E minor, key of D minor, which is what we're going to be using, or you have the key of A minor. So you can play around with different key options depending on your range. And like I said, we're going to be in the key of D, so we'll jump in starting to learn the melody. The steps we're going to follow today, similar to what we did last week, we'll learn the melody. We'll practice first on just our breath or on something semi-closed. So that could be singing on a hum, singing on a lip trill, singing through a straw, anything like that that's gentle, that gets your vocal folds coming together efficiently and cleanly, but isn't too taxing on your voice. Then we'll practice on a syllable, so maybe something like do-do-do or ma-ma-ma. Then we'll add the lyrics on. We'll troubleshoot because oftentimes it'll be easy to sing on a syllable or something semi-closed, and then we add the lyrics and all of a sudden something gets weird or something gets difficult. So we'll troubleshoot and see how we can make it easier. And then we'll sing it all. All right. Hello, Melodia. Thank you for being here. So starting off, again, you can click the link to get the PDF in 2 octaves for you. So either if you have a voice, a range similar to mine, you're going to start on D4, going to F4. Alas, my love, you do me wrong. If you have a voice significantly lower than mine, then you'll be 1 octave lower, starting on D3. Okay, so D3 going to F3. So there it is in 2 octaves. We'll do Last my love you. I think we'll just do those first 3 bars. Or really, 3 bars. So here it is, listening first. Alas, my love you. Again. Alas, my love you. Give it a try if you haven't already. I will give you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then you're singing on 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then finishing out this phrase, do me wrong, do me wrong. Again. Okay, I know it's kind of a weird place to stop, but putting it together. Alas, my love, you do me wrong. And then we'll go on to cast me off discourteously. So there are accidentals there. If you're looking at the sheet music with me, you'll see the little sharp sign or hashtag if you're unfamiliar with sharps and flats. There's a C sharp there. An accidental means that pitch does not belong technically in the key. So let's say you're singing this on solfege, it would be an altered solfege syllable. If you're familiar with this tune, though, it's going to sound right to your ear. It's going to sound correct. Okay, so where were we? We are at cast. Cast me off discourteously. Here it is in 2 octaves. Once more, singing along this time from cast. If you haven't already, cast. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Okay? 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Let's put that together from the very beginning. Alas, stopping after courteously. Okay. After we finish this phrase, then the next phrase is a lot of the same melody, just different lyrics. So that's good news. I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. Alas. 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. Good. Want one more try? Remember, we're just learning the melody right now. So if those words are not coming out right and if things are getting weird, don't worry about it because our next step is going to be breathing through or singing on something semi-closed. So we will break it down and it should be a bit easier. Okay. Hi, Florista. Hello, dude. Thank you for being here. Let's go on because it's basically the same. For I have loved you well and long delighting. Here's where it gets different. In your company. So it's just different at the end there. Give it a try from for I. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. For I. 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. Good. Okay. Going on. This is the highest pitch of the song. Greensleeves was all my joy. And we have another accidental. So in the key of D minor or F, we would normally have a B flat. Here we have a B natural. There it is. Okay. Greensleeves was my delight. So I'll do that again for us, starting at green. Join me if you want. 1, 2, 3, ready, and sing. Good. Finishing this out because we're almost done with the song. Greensleeves was, lyrics. Greensleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeves? Okay, you try it. Greensleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeves? 1, 2, 3, ready, and sing. Okay. Let us now go all the way back to the beginning. I think probably the most challenging element in this song is going to be breathing and phrasing, because there's not a lot of rests built in. In fact, as I'm looking at the sheet music, I don't see a single rest for you to actually take a big breath. So the types of breaths that you need to take, at least if you're observing the melody as written, are catch breaths. We talked last week about this concept of leaving a long sustained note a little bit early to arrive on time for the next one. So, an example of that. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously for. Okay, so that would be as written, Lee half note for, but obviously you need to breathe. It's the end of a sentence, the end of a musical phrase. So we're going to leave the Lee of discourteously a little bit early to arrive on time for the word for. Discourteously for I. So if you had this printed out, or if you have a way to notate, then you could notate that somehow, either with a little breath mark, an apostrophe, or a comma, or just a dash, a check mark, anything that tells you breathe. Okay, so let's try that breathing. You can breathe out on an SH sound, shh, or an S hiss, s. And the point here is that we're getting used to the rhythm and the phrasing. We're teaching our body how much breath is needed for this phrase, but we're not tiring our voice out. So we're taking a little break from singing and just breathing. I'll still, I guess, play the melody for you, but you're breathing or hissing. And try your best to not breathe until we get to the end of discourteously breath. For I have loved you well and long delighting in your company. Same thing there, breath. We would call this a 4-bar phrase, or, 4 measures, and then you breathe. Oh, is it? No, it's more. For I have loved you well and long delighting in your company. More like an 8-bar phrase. Feels like a 4-bar. Okay, anyways, let's do it. Hiss or shh. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, ready, breathe. Or actually, I'll say 1, 2, 3, breathing, because I want you to be breathing right then. Ready? 1, 2, 3, breathing. Breathe. Breathe. I'm so sorry, I had to scroll. Ready and go. So you can really get a sense of how quick this melody moves and how little time you have to breathe. That means that every catch breath you take has to be good quality. I recommend you're breathing through your breathing through your mouth, and you're relaxing your belly muscles to take a big, full, but quick breath. So practice this with me. Place your hands on the bottom of your rib cage, kind of, make crab claws so you can feel your belly as well. Relax your belly muscles so it can pop open with that breath quickly. Okay? Give that a try. A big but short breath. Okay? Try that again. And see if you can do that almost silently. You'll notice my chest doesn't have to move to take in that big breath. You might be tempted to go and kind of gasp, but that's not the type of breath we want to take in. That will, if you gasp, your chest rises, usually your belly goes in. That's setting us up for kind of this upward sort of tense feeling. Instead, we want to think about I'm relaxing down. I'm allowing my belly to relax, make space. My rib cage opens, and I'm taking in a lot of air in a little amount of time. If you haven't already, roll your shoulders down and back, and your chest can be comfortably lifted. Like think of, a tall, confident chest posture. So that'll also deter you from lifting your chest further. If it's already kind of comfortably lifted in a nice, strong, tall, confident posture, then it becomes a lot more natural to let the belly instead expand when you take in that big but quick breath. And then Sheila is saying, chest doesn't move. Perfect. Thank you, Sheila. Okay. So now that we've breathed through, let's sing on a syllable. I would probably sing do-do-do or lulu, something like that. You can experiment though. So if doo-doo or lulu does not work well for you, then sing on something else. It could be ma 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 ba ba ba. Ma 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 ma. And doesn't sound like my sustain pedal is working, so it's going to be some choppy piano. Sorry about that. Okay. Do-do-do, lulu, ma-ma-ma, ba-ba-ba. I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3 breathing. Do-do-do-do. Ready? 1, 2, 3 breathing. Now, I would probably even delighting in your company. Even cut that one shorter so that you can take a nice full breath before Greensleeves was na. Okay. I can hear now the sustain pedal is backwards. So it's fine. It's fine. Okay, nice big breath, and then we're going on to Greensleeves, but on do 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 do. I know that feels like a long phrase, okay? Stick with it. Stay tall. Your chest and your body is probably going to want to collapse. Your shoulders are going to want to roll forward. Don't let them. I promise it'll help to use the very last drop of breath that you have left. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready and go. Yeah, this is a really, really good breath challenge. Okay, so we breathed through it. We sang through it on a syllable. I think it's time to put the lyrics on. It's, if you would like, especially if these lyrics are new to you, you can try one time through just speaking the text in rhythm. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. Just to, get the rhythm in your body. But if you feel ready to add the melody as well, go for it. Again, I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3 breathing. Alas. 1, 2, 3 breathing. Alas, my love, you do me wrong. Going on. Such a pretty melody, and it's hard to not hear the babe, the son of Mary. Okay, tell me, as you sang that through, were there any spots that got weird for you, or anything that was challenging with the lyrics on that wasn't necessarily challenging on do 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 or ba ba ba? I can assume that for some folks, the E vowel was weird. So you might have been rolling along and it sounds relatively good. For I have loved you well and long, delighting in your company. Nothing weird there. And then maybe when you got to green, maybe it sounded a little bit like that. A little bit closed or small or mousy. Okay. So an E vowel, because it already is super closed, E. Usually an E vowel needs to be modified if it's higher in our range. So as an example, if that was 1 octave lower, E, Greensleeves, no issue. Greensleeves, up the octave, issue, right? It doesn't sound as rich. It sounds closed. So what we want to do, or what we can try at first, is to just sing on something more open and get the tone that we're going for. So maybe a ma. So give this a try, just that C on ma, 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 ma. Try ma, as in mom. 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Ma, 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 ma. Okay, let's get us closer to an E vowel. So now try meh, as in met. 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Meh, 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 meh. Try now meh, as in mit, but keep some of that jaw dropping. Meh, 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 meh. Ready? 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Meh, 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 meh. Believe it or not, that's pretty close to what your E vowel can be. Instead of green, it can be a little bit closer to grin. Greensleeves was all my joy. Now that might be too far. You don't want it to sound like you're saying Greensleeves. Green. But it can be somewhere in between grin and green. Grain, grain. Greensleeves was all my joy. And then when you have Greensleeves lower in your range, at this next phrase, all my joy, green you can do kind of a pure unmodified Greensleeves was my delight. And you can make the lyric super duper clear. So vowel modification, we touched on this last week. Vowel modification doesn't have to happen on every instance of that vowel. It just has to happen when the pitch and the vowel are coming together in a way that doesn't produce the tone that you're going for. So if you have an issue, then consider vowel modification, but you don't need to preemptively modify the vowels. Okay, Florista is saying the breathing is the biggest challenge for me in this song. I want to breathe more often. Okay, so if those big catch breaths are not working for you, then let's look for some moments where you could take a shorter catch breath. If you need to, if you're like dying and you think, I'm not going to make it through this phrase, I need to take a breath, then you might, alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast. So basically, you just cut off that second pitch on wrong. And I think that sounds fine. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously. And then let's see, next phrase. For I have loved you well and long. You could do the same thing there. Well and long breath. Delighting in your company. Next, I'm guessing that the pattern's going to continue. Greensleeves was all my joy. Now, it's kind of a shame to cut that because it's this like da 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 da. It's really leading into that note. Sleeves was all my joy. I would say if you're going to cut it, just cut it right there, joy, and cut off the da-da. Greensleeves was my delight. Same thing for Greensleeves was my heart of gold. And who but my lady Greensleeves? So you do have that option. I don't want to give you the impression that you absolutely can't breathe in between this 8-bar phrase situation. So you have that out. You do have that out. Now, to give you kind of the challenge, if you need or want to make it through these 8-bar phrases as written, then what I would do is spend more time practicing on something semi-closed. So I might, instead of just one time through like we did, I might do several times throughout the week through on something like a lip trill or an NG. Or and then likewise spend more time on the syllable. And you can even ease yourself by choosing a syllable with a little bit of back pressure. So something like a bub. So instead of singing that's quite open and flowy, something like bub, 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 bub. And in fact, Florista, I wonder if you want to try that with me right now. That way you're not leaking excess air. See if you can get through one of those phrases on bub. Ready? 1, 2, 3, breathe. Bub, 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 bub. Weird pitch in there. How did that go? For me, that is so much easier. And then the next step would be when you add the lyrics back on, see if you can notice where you're losing air, where you might be leaking extra air. It could be in kind of the tone quality overall. If you're singing with more of a light, breathy, floaty tone quality, then you might train on something that is less breathy. Maybe something like a na. Might not be as pretty, but na 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 na, and then kind of keep a little bit of that tone quality. Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast, instead of alas, my love, you do all of that extra air and breath. It might be pretty, but it might not be sustainable just breathing wise. And then you can also look at the lyrics. Are there any specific lyrics or consonants where you're leaking a lot of air? Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off. Yeah, so maybe the t, maybe the f, maybe any consonant where there's a lot of air there, you can consider that as something to like minimize the air off instead of off. That's kind of getting into the nitty gritty, getting into the weeds, but it can make a big difference. Okay, cool. So then practicing on bub for a bit longer could be one tact that you take and spend a little bit more time with it as well. Okay, last step here, and I'm going to reduce the size of this lead sheet so I don't have to scroll. I should have done that sooner. I'm going to give you a chance to sing through this just by yourself. And I'm gonna mute myself, unplug and replug in my sustain pedal and see if that fixes, because I don't want to play choppy piano for you. So 1 second, I'm gonna mute. Okay, let's see. Hey, nice. Okay. I fixed it. Also should have done that sooner. So here's just you and the chords, alas, one time through, and then we'll have time probably for one more song before Q&A time. On lyrics, if you're ready. If you don't want to do lyrics and want to stay on a syllable, do that instead. Here's your starting pitch. 1, 2, 3, breathing. Okay. Now remember, with any song that you're working on, you can always look for it in a different key. So if this was too high or too low, you have, many, many other choices. If you're a sheet music or lead sheet person, this site that I shared with you had 2 other key options. One that's a little bit higher, E minor, doo, 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 and then one that's A minor. Doo, 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 doo. Okay, jumping into, because we've already used the Parting Glass and Auld Lang Syne in lessons past, but we have not used Scarborough Fair, I would like to spend some time with that one. So here is the site I'm using for sheet music for Scarborough Fair. And Sheila's saying, when I don't try so hard and don't acknowledge that I'm breathing, it seems to flow better. That's wonderful. Oftentimes, we can kind of think ourselves to death when we're singing. And so, as counterintuitive as it is, it's sometimes best to give yourself a chance to not think about it, whatever the technical thing is. Let me not think about my vowels. Let me not think about my alignment. And then, so I'm glad to hear that sometimes you can just trust your body and it actually goes better. Hi, Nick. And how do you really engage in the lower breath and breathe at the same time? What do you mean by that, Sheila? Engage in the lower breath and breathe at the same time. Yeah, help me understand that. I'm gonna start with Scarborough Fair. So the reason I like this site is you can play it, you can change the tempo, you can change the key. So this again is the default is in the key of D minor. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me. And then to one who lives there. It's a little bit different than what I have in my head. Remember me to the one who lives there. That's kind of what I have in my head. So if you're here, okay, I tend to get tight towards my solar plexus. Okay. Sheila, let me think. You feel like you're getting tight towards your solar plexus when you're inhaling or when you're actually singing? So if you're here and you're familiar with the melody for Scarborough Fair, which one sounds right to you? Is it the remember me to one who lives there? Or is it the remember me to the one who lives there? The second one sounds more like intuitive, more natural, but I don't want to make it up. So if you want the written version, we'll stick with the written version. And maybe actually for simplicity, because we're looking at the sheet music, we'll just stick with the written one. Okay. Are you going to? So 2 octave options, D4 starting or D3. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Once more. Give it a try if you haven't already. 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Now we have again that little B natural situation. Oh, cool. Okay, Florista said the first. Awesome. That's what we're going to stick with because that's what's on the sheet music. And Sheila's saying when I'm actually singing, I'm not concentrating on the flow. Sheila, I'm sorry. I'm the kind of tight solar plexus. This is something that I've dealt with in the past with a student, but it's been so long that I'm the tricks and tips are not at the top of my brain. So what I'm going to do is write that down and see what I can come up with for you. And circle back next week. Yeah. And Deborah is asking different arrangement. Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps. But we'll stick with this one for now. It looks old. Usually old is good. Are you... Here we are at Parsley. Putting that together. Are you going? 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Okay, here's the line that we are like, about. Remember me to one who lives there. It's kind of fun. It's different. Ending. Or actually, we'll do that one again. Remember. 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. And then finishing out 4 ones. From 4 ones, one last time. 1, 2, 3, ready, sing. And yes. Okay, Melodia, you suggest me now to breathe to expand my vocal range, like to sing the Sol D4. Yeah, so Melodia, for vocal range extension, typically narrow vowels and semi-closed exercises will be your best friend. So you might kind of hit a ceiling on a wide vowel, but if you can siren slide on an oo or an e, and D4, that should be within your reach. However, D4 might be kind of the top of where your chest voice range naturally is. So the steps to expanding beyond that would be accessing your head voice or falsetto. So think exercises like woo woo, siren sounds. And what you might find even easier would be actually starting higher than that D4 and then bringing it down. But that's where I would start, is kind of separating, leaving your chest voice or speaking voice, and instead focusing on head voice or falsetto development. Okay, my friends, I don't think that breath is as much of an issue here. We have breath marks, so you can see that little comma or apostrophe. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Breathe. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Breathe. Remember me to one who lives there. Little catch breath. That one we don't have as much time. For once she was a true love of mine. Okay, let's breathe through it though on a hiss or a shh. 1, 2, 3, ready and go. Okay, singing on something like do do do, ma ma ma. Or sorry, do do do, ma ma ma. 1, 2, 3, ready and sing do do do. adding on lyrics. And let's go just a tad slower. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Okay. Anything get weird once you added the lyrics? I personally feel like the vowel or the lyric sage doesn't come out beautifully for me. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? And then parsley. Again, that E vowel. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Okay, we have a lot of E, A. For me, it's not helpful. For you, it might be. So if it's not an issue, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you're not really loving the tone that you're getting on that, let's try it on ma, ma, ma. This is parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, but on ma, ma. 1, 2, 3, ready and sing. Ma, 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 ma. Once more, here you go. Ma, 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 ma. Okay. When it's easier, significantly easier on a syllable or a vowel, that's good news. I know it's frustrating because you're like, why can't the lyrics be that easy? But it's good news because it gives you a bit of a path to making it easier. So if ma is easier than parsley, how do we make parsley closer to ah? So probably our fix is going to be similar to what we did in the last song. Instead of parsley, parsley. Parsley, parsley. It feels stupid and it sounds stupid if you say it like that. But when you sing it, instead of parsley, parsley, it still sounds enough like parsley, but it's not parsley. It's really parsley. Give that a try. Just parsley. Parsley. You can look in the mirror. Parsley. One way to think about it, if you want to kind of get into the weeds, is to keep your mouth in that ah shape. Parsley, parsley. But then let your tongue come forward for an E. Parsley, parsley. The bizarre things that we do when singing. Bet you did not think that you would be standing in front of a mirror today saying parsley. But anyways, parsley, parsley. Parsley. And then what do we do with sage instead of sage? A, not beautiful. More beautiful. Parsley, sage. I still don't love the S, but whatever. Rosemary, rosemary instead of rosemary. Rosemary and thyme. And this really makes a difference for me whether I am kind of chewing the words rosemary or whether I'm just kind of keeping my jaw in this position. Rosemary, Mary, instead of Mary. Again, it's small, but it really makes a big difference when you're at a tricky spot in your voice or particularly when you're higher in your range. Oh man, Nick. That's okay. That's a-okay. Okay, so here we are. We're really getting into the particulars of how to make this more singable. Again, for me, I hope it works for you. But if you don't need to go to these lengths, then just sing it as is. Parsley. I'd be writing IH, as in sit. Parsley, sage, more like an sage, rosemary, and thyme. And then something more like instead of A-E. And something to remind yourself. I would probably just cross off the R, the second R in rosemary. Not that I'm leaving it off, but I'm just not spending a lot of time there. Mary and time. Okay, going on. Remember. Not liking that. Remember me. Remember me. So I'm having an issue. Number one, the vowel I like better as an instead of eh. Remember me. So more in that vowel. But I'm also having something weird happen when I'm closing. I'm not liking that. So what I might do there is spend as much time as possible on the and then the mbr really quick. Remember me. Give that a try. So instead of remember me, remember me. Does that make sense? Are you spending more time on the vowel or more time on the consonant? And for my voice, when I'm closing to the consonant, everything gets just tight and not nice. If I think about it as just feels a lot better, sounds better. And then I'm getting that consonant really fast. Remember me. Really, there's a big difference in how I'm thinking about it. Am I thinking about the or am I anticipating closing to the of remember? Okay. I hope you're tracking with this. As singers, everyone is going to feel this and experience it a little bit differently in their own body. But I'm assuming that I'm not the only one struggling with these specific spots. I think these are the common weird spots in this song. Okay, here we are. Remember me. Still don't love it. Remember me. So I think the fix for me, I have to kind of not be afraid of it and give it a little bit more gas. Remember me to one who lives there. For once she was a true love of mine. Nothing super weird in that last line. Not one who lives there. For once she was true love of mine. Yeah. Okay. What are we thinking? Did I miss a spot that was weird for you? Or you're like, wait, we spent a lot of time saying the word parsley, but I'm struggling with ... So I want you to see if this key was not a good fit for you. You can change the key, can play it in different keys, and those will be down at the bottom. So this is in the key of D minor. It's 1 flat. And then if you take your cursor, try out different keys. So the next one to the left would be C sharp minor. The next one would be C minor. So just as an example. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Even the difference of just one whole step or 2 semitones down. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Because of where that sits in my voice, I don't have to think nearly as hard on parsley and sage and rosemary. It's just at an easier spot in my range. So I don't have to focus so much on vowel modification. So sometimes you get a choice in the key, and sometimes you don't. Deborah's saying, I think to brush through the consonants. Yeah, so you mean kind of to not really spend too much time on the consonants? Let me know if that's what you mean, or if you mean something else. So what I want to say is, sometimes if you can't change the key, then it's worth getting into the weeds and really fine tuning. But sometimes you can just change the key and eliminate a lot of technical issues that you would have had in a different key. So what path you take is up to you and up to the context. You know, what are you singing with? Is it a karaoke track, or are you accompanying yourself? But yeah, sometimes you can just simplify things and make a song easier and more singable for your specific voice off the bat in a different key. And Sheila's saying she wants a true love of mine. That's different, kind of has me feeling like you're singing in the back of your throat. So I would think that maybe has more to do with the melody going down lower. So maybe the rest of this was more like in your head voicey, mixy place. For once she was a true love of mine. You might find that more easily in your chest voice. Thanks, Florista. I'm glad you enjoyed this. I know it's like kind of nerding out a little bit, and maybe for some folks, they're like, this is too much vowel stuff, but it's and Jackie's saying, write out the lyrics, but spell it all wrong. Absolutely. That's totally what is the game? It's not Balderdash. It's, I think, Mad Gab. There's this board game where, let me see. Yes, exactly. So it's like a game of Mad Gab where you have a phrase that is, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to, yeah, okay. Deborah gets it. Deborah's like, yes, stop talking, Camille. We understand. Okay, cool. Thank you. So next week, I am again back, this time with some country songs, which will be really fun. And we'll talk a little bit more about stylization. So for this week and last week, we weren't really talking about style much. Next week, we'll talk about some, country specific stylization, flattening vowels, slides, scoops, falls, yodels, using, kind of more of our chest voice. and some natural twang. So I hope if you're interested in that style that you'll be able to join. And if not, of course, all of these videos are available, after the fact, after the stream. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you hopefully next week. All right.